So good evening. My name is Alan Bardier. I am the project manager for the Richford Land Port of Entry. On behalf of the U.S. General Services Administration and our federal partner, U.S. Customs and Border Protection, we want to thank you for joining us here tonight for this public meeting on the new Land Port of Entry project in Richford. Tonight's meeting is an important part of the National Environmental Policy Act for the proposed modernization of the project at the Richford Port. So tonight's meeting will begin with a presentation that discusses the proposed project, an overview of the NEPA process and timeline, and the findings of the draft environmental assessment. Following the presentation, there will be a moderated session during which you'll be able to provide comments. As we move through the meeting, please remember that tonight is an opportunity for you to provide GSA with input on issues that are important to you. Your input is a valuable and critical step in the process and will be used by GSA throughout the project. So tonight, you'll hear information from myself, Alan Bombardier, as well as our GSA's NEPA contractor, WSP. Also here tonight is Lindsay Vies, GSA's acting urban planning and NEPA branch chief online. Also online, we have Pam Howe, the director of GSA Public PBS. We have Sarah Mazzarello, our realty specialist. So as part of the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, or the IIJA, GSA was provided $3.4 billion nationally to invest in the nation's infrastructure and competitiveness. The law provides for land port of entry modernizations that create new, good-paying jobs while bolstering safety and security. As part of the IIJA program, our region received over $200 million for 5 land port of entry projects here in Vermont, Richford being one of them. The Richford Land Port of Entry is located at 705 Province Street. The purpose of the project is to increase inspection and operational capabilities at the port, meet new and evolving security requirements, incorporate new sustainable features and technologies, all while allowing easier and safer public flow through the port of entry. In addition, the new port of entry will alleviate the structural deficiencies that exist at the current port. So on behalf of GSA, thank you all for being here tonight, and I'm going to pass it over to Ryan.
All right, thank you, Alan. My name is Ryan Long. I'm with WSP. As Alan mentioned, we're the contractor GSA is using to conduct the National Environmental Policy Act analysis. So, as a refresher, the National Environmental Policy Act is really overarching environmental regulation for the U.S. that kind of requires federal agencies to investigate the environmental and human effects of their actions. So this project, we had a scoping meeting that was to solicit initial feedback on the proposed action and the alternatives. We took that feedback, incorporated it into the draft environmental assessment, and then now we are presenting those findings and soliciting more feedback. So the draft EA evaluates the proposed action, which is to modernize the port. It also evaluates a no action alternative to compare those potential effects to. So again, the National Environmental Policy Act really is the umbrella regulatory program that many of the regulations pertaining to specific resources such as Clean Air Act or Clean Water Act fall under or incorporate into. So all of the acts listed here and many more were evaluated and incorporated into the draft environmental assessment. So again, the various resources that were examined are shown on the screen, many of which had surveys or detailed analysis that was reviewed by or solicited feedback from regulatory agencies, whether that be the Corps of Engineers, the United States Fish and Wildlife Service, or various state of Vermont agencies. So again, the proposed action is to modernize the port. That is being accomplished or would be accomplished by demolishing the existing building and acquiring approximately 6.7 acres of land from adjacent property owners to modernize the facility, which would include new roadways, mechanical gates, guardrails, canopies, new office facilities, etc. So during the construction period, which is anticipated to be approximately 24 months, the port would be closed. So commercial traffic would be diverted to the West Berkshire LPOE gate, non-commercial traffic to the Pinnacle LPOE gate or East Richford. Again, those are anywhere from 3 to 11 miles of detour, and again, that port closure and detours were analyzed in the draft EA, and we'll get to those results just a few slides. So the no action alternative, as I mentioned, is the baseline and serves as a point of comparison to show how the project would change various resources. So in this case, the no action is to maintain the port as is. Again, that does not meet the current purpose and need due to various constraints on the size and the condition. Okay, so going through each resource area, we'll start here with water resources, which included wetlands. So a jurisdictional determination was applied for and received with the state of Vermont and the Corps of Engineers. So we did surveys, delineated the various wetlands and streams and water bodies that appear, and their classifications, quality, presented that to the Corps of Engineers in the state, and they agreed with our findings. Based on the proposed action, there would be impacts to some of those features. Those are anticipated to be mitigated through various forms of planning and mitigation banks. So various protection plans would be put in place, such as stormwater control plans. And any impacts to wetlands would be mitigated through a mitigation bank, and that would be coordinated with the regulatory agencies, in this case, the Corps of Engineers and Vermont DEC. Threatened and endangered species, along with other biological species, were examined. In this particular case, there are no threatened and endangered species within the project area and no protected habitat for any protected species within the project area. Now, there is a candidate species, the monarch butterfly, which does utilize this area that could be listed really at any point. And if that were to happen, coordination with the Fish and Wildlife Service would occur and the potential impacts on that species would be examined. But as of right now, there are no protected species in the area to be impacted. So for cultural resources, so historic resources and archaeological resources, various surveys, desktop analysis has been done. The current LPOE building is a historic structure. So consultation with the State Historic Preservation Office is ongoing, and determinations of mitigation and how to handle the impact of the demolition of that building will be coordinated with the State Historic Preservation Office. So those were the kind of the big ones. The other resources, geology and soils, obviously construction activities do have some impact to geology and soils. That is generally speaking the the impact that we found, grading, clearing, expanding impervious surface, those types of impacts. Traffic, transportation, and parking. Again, the port is scheduled to close for approximately 24 months, which does create traffic changes. There are alternate ports that are within relatively close proximity, 3 to 11 miles. So there's not anticipated to be a significant impact on traffic and transportation. There will be potential periods of slower processing times through the gates as that traffic shifts to a different gate, but again, not anticipated to be a significant change. Aesthetics, in this particular case, the visual component of the building and the changes to the building, as well as aesthetics from lighting and the impact on dark skies were examined. Again, changes to the building, demolition of historic structure will have some impact, but again, not anticipated to significantly change the character of the area. And various policies and mitigation will be put in place to control lighting, shielding, bringing lighting down to the extent possible. In terms of land use, again, there will be some change in land use because there will be, the plan would be to acquire approximately 6.7 acres of land. So that would change from its current use to government use for use of the port. But again, relatively small acreage of land. And as far as changing of the land use, the proposed use would be consistent with the Norton skyline, or Richford skylines, excuse me. Socioeconomics, again, a resource that's very closely tied to closure of the port. Changing traffic patterns into Canada and into the United States, access of local landowners to various portions of their property and or local businesses. Again, there would be slight changes to those, but due to surrounding ports, access is not anticipated to be significantly impacted. Again, very similar discussion with recreation. There is bicycle trails and other recreational resources in the area that are highly used. Closure of the port has an impact on those, particularly for users of those trails that bicycle from Canada in. It's 3 miles in a car is much different than 3 miles on a bicycle, but again, those are impacts that are examined and reviewed within the draft environmental assessment. So again, as far as schedule goes, we had a meeting in September for the public scoping period, September last year, for the scoping period. We took that input on socioeconomics, input on closure of the port, to name a few. Recreational resources were all topics that were discussed during that previous meeting. We drafted the environmental assessment, incorporating those concerns, changes to the proposed action and the area within the proposed action were modified after scoping. The draft environmental assessment was published on June 30th, and the public comment period is ongoing. That comment period goes until July 29th. Any comments that are received or input provided by the public will be reviewed by GSA to determine if and how to address in the environmental assessment. And then that environmental assessment will be finalized, and if deemed necessary, GSA would sign a finding of no significant impact, which would move the project forward as the final decision. So as far as the process goes, again, the comment period goes until July 29th. There would be finalization of the EA in the fall. And then as we get into winter, the decision notice would be expected to be issued. Design would continue throughout 2026 with an anticipated construction completion in 2028. So again, we are here to seek input on the draft environmental assessment. We're happy to hear any issues that you have, want to talk about. So those here in the room in person, there are comment sheets in the back of the room that you can take with you. It also has this information in it, so you can fill it out at home at your leisure, mail it in. The address is here also on the sheet. There's an email address that can be used to send comments. And obviously you can speak here tonight, and the stenographer will capture any of your comments. So again, I know there's some attendees online. We will open it up for comment for the online attendees as well. All of the materials from tonight's meeting will also be made available on GSA's website. So the comment sheet and the posters that are here in the room can be viewed online. So just as a reminder for those that did not participate in the scoping meeting, we'll start with any attendees here in the room that would like to comment. We have a microphone, so we'll make sure that anybody online and the stenographer and the video crew can capture the comment well. Please state your name clearly, spell it if it's not common. We'll try to stay quiet while others are commenting. Keep your comments brief, although I think we have a relatively low attendance so that we have plenty of time that we can circle back and you can ask multiple comments if needed. We want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to speak. And again, this meeting is being recorded. It will also be made available on GSA's website for anybody that would like to watch it after the fact. So with that, we'll open it up to anyone here in the room that would like to speak.
It's either you or me. I have a question. And I don't know if you're going to answer it or not. My name is Paul Martin. When the border is closed down, is the Pinnacle border going to be open 24 hours a day?
I cannot answer that question.
That's what I thought.
I only because that's a CBP.
Okay, no.
First of all, it's a CBP owned and operated port of entry, but it's also just to see the operational item.
See, I didn't know
Something that I don't
anybody
know.
going to Canada or going up after 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You can't,
That's right.
You can't go there.
Yeah,
And that's right with Stephen, with East Richford too.
that is correct. Most of the traffic after that 4 o'clock period will more than likely go to West Berkshire. Yeah.
So-
I would love to give you a better answer than that,
Okay.
but again, it's a
The
CBP
other-
operational issue.
The other question, and it's being an ex-firefighter from Richford here, during construction, will it be possible to go through?
I don't believe so.
Okay, I was wondering because
Site work-
there is a mutual agreement between the two countries that
Of course.
they don't stop at customs or anything and they just go straight through when called.
Right.
And I'm surprised that there wasn't somebody here from the fire department to find that out. But anyways, thank you.
Yeah. Again, to answer your question, I don't believe so. With the amount of site impact, site disturbance, that's probably not going to even be possible. It's a great question, and I would definitely probably bring that up to your local fire department and probably provide a comment, and we can get a better answer for you.
Okay, I think we are out of questions here in the room. If anybody online has a question.
We do have a question in the Q&A. I can read it out, but Yvonne, if you'd like to raise your hand, we can unmute you as well if you'd like to add to it. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'm unmuting Yvonne. Okay, Yvonne, you should be able to unmute yourself now.
Hi,
There you go.
I'm Yvonne Betty Bask. I'm the archaeologist with the Vermont Division for Historic Preservation. As far as I know, we have not seen the archaeology reports yet. Phase 1 is usually completed after consultation with our office, so I'm interested in when we will be seeing that report.
I can probably actually answer that. I don't know if Lindsay or Pam, you want to chime in as well, but I do know that Liz Mees, the GSA lead, is literally working on those reports as we speak. So it should be in the very near future.
Thank you.
Now, Lindsay, Pam, did I capture that correctly?
I believe that Liz will be handing over the report in person on Friday.
Thanks, Pam. I was just going to say the same thing.
Excellent, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, any other questions? Any burning desires to find anything out about the NEPA process?
They get paid by the hour.
We are here, and certainly we can pause for a few minutes to see if anybody comes up with any further questions, but
Have you made the design yet? No, you haven't really had the design.
We are in the design development process. So we have a pretty good idea of what the design is going to be, but it's not 100% finalized.
But are you gonna straighten out the road or whatever? I hate it. Okay, I just wondered if you were gonna straighten it out.
You can pretty much see in the example that of how the port is going to be configured.
Okay.
The road appears to go in straighter, much straighter. We will be straightening that.
Yeah.
As with most ports, it's controlled entry and exit, so it's one lane into the port through Canada and one lane out of the port through the United States.
But there'll be a separate one for trucks, right?
Incoming truck traffic will have a designated lane. They'll be able to use both lanes, but one of them will be designated for trucks during the day, and at night because of the operations.
I know she isn't here. There was a Mrs. Tatro here at the last meeting, and that's their house in the very bottom on the other side of the black line. You won't be taking any of their land, will you?
The proposed action appears to take some of that property.
Some of that property.
And when I say take, I don't mean take. Acquire. I apologize for the misstatement. Acquire.
And most of it comes from St. Pierre because he owned the rest of it, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I gotta quit talking.
You had plenty to say when you came in. You have other questions?
Should have stayed home.
I'm just picking on you, sir.
No problem. It's just that, I don't know. I'm surprised there aren't more people here for the day. I really am.
I am as well.
And why there aren't any selectmen here or people like that, fire department, the ambulance. I mean, I would think they would want to know what was going on.
Everybody that you just listed received notification of tonight's meeting. We received responses from a fair amount saying that they're in support of the project, but unfortunately they just couldn't be here tonight.
You tried.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
last call. All right, last call for comments, questions, concerns.
We will leave the online platform open for a few more minutes, maybe another 5 minutes, just in case we have some latecomers, but thank you for attending. We appreciate your input.